Hi, my name is Byaoko and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this lace miniskirt. It has ruffle details on top of it to give it an extra look, and I normally make crochet videos each and every week, so kindly subscribe and join the family. Hit the bell notification so that you can get notified each and every time I post a new video. So let's get started. So to make the skirt, we're going to start by making the square motifs. I'm using lace yarn. It's a very tiny thread with a 1.5 millimeter crochet hook, but the type of thread you need to use shouldn't worry you. You can actually use a medium weight yarn as long as you have your tape measure to help you in the sizing process. So let's start making the square motif. Begin by making a slip knot, chain 10, slip stitch from the first chain to form a circle. After that, you are going to chain 3 and then double crochet inside the chain space for a total of 24. Remember, the chain 3 counts as a stitch. So we're going to make a double crochet which is in multiple of 4. So in my case, I'm going to work on 24 double crochet, but you can actually work for a total of 16 depending on the size that you need. I have my 24 double crochet inside the circle, and to complete the circle I'm going to slip stitch from the first 3 chains that I made to form a circle like that. So let's begin the second row. To start on the second row, I'm going to chain 7, and then I'm going to treble crochet into the next stitch. Sorry. So the chain 7, 6 of them is going to act as a treble crochet, and then the extra one is going to act as a chain 1 space in between. So from there you're going to chain 1 and then treble crochet inside the next stitch, chain 1 again, treble crochet inside the next double crochet. So continue working on treble crochet with chain 1 spaces in between. Do not skip a double crochet. You're just going to work on the next double crochet with chain 1 spaces in between for a total of 24. To close the row, I'm just going to chain 1 and then insert my hook onto the 7th stitch from the first treble crochet that I made. To begin on row 3, you're going to slip stitch again to get your yarn inside this chain space, and then you're going to chain 3. The chain 3 already acts as your first double crochet, so I'm going to work 2 more double crochet inside the chain space. And then I'm going to go on to the next chain space and I'm going to work 3 double crochet in the same chain 1 space. Onto the next chain 1 space, I'm still going to work 3 double crochet. So that's going to be the pattern until you complete the whole row. So go ahead and work 3 double crochet in the chain spaces until you get towards this other side. This is what I have so far. I have a total of 72 stitches, and then I'm just going to close the row by slip stitching onto the first double crochet. So let's start working on the 4th row. To work on the 4th row, I'm going to chain 5, skip the first 2 double crochet, and inside the 3rd one I'm going to work on a single crochet. Chain 5, skip 2 double crochet, and then onto the 3rd one work single crochet. Chain 5, and then single crochet onto the 3rd stitch, skipping 2 double crochet between. So continue working that way until you reach towards this other side for row 4. I'm done with the row 4, and I'm just going to slip stitch on the first chain here, and then I'm going to slip stitch again so that I can get inside the chain 5, the first chain 5 stitches, and I have a total of 24 chain 5 spaces. So on the final row I'm going to chain 4, and the chain 4 acts as my first treble crochet, and then I'm going to treble crochet inside the same chain 5 space. Then I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to work 2 more treble crochet inside the chain 5 space. You should be having something like this, a treble crochet shell stitch, and then I'm going to chain 5. I'm going to single crochet onto the next chain space. Chain 5, single crochet onto the next chain space. Chain 5, single crochet onto the next chain space. Chain 5, single crochet onto the next chain space. Chain 5, single crochet onto the next chain space. So since I have a multiple of 4 and there are 24, and I need 4 corners of the treble crochet shell stitch, so I'm going to count 6. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I'm done with my first shell. So the next thing I'm going to do again, I'm going to chain 5, do a shell onto this space over here, and then I'm just going to repeat the same process again until I have 4 corners of shell stitch. So I have my next shell stitch. I'm just going to chain 5 and work a single crochet. How many times? 1 2 3 4 times. So continue, repeat this part over here, and then I'll meet you towards this other side. I'm done working on the final row, and I've just chained 5, and then I'm going to slip stitch onto the top part of the first treble crochet that I made, slip stitch again onto the second treble crochet, and then slip stitch so that I can get inside the treble crochet shell. So the next thing we're going to do, this is what we have. You should be able to have a square motif. So the next part is joining the motifs together. To join the two motifs together, I'm going to take the wrong sides together and place them facing each other, and then I'm just going to chain 2 and then single crochet inside the shell stitch of the other motif, and then I'm going to chain 2, come on this other side of the motif onto the chain 5 space, chain 2 onto the other side, and then just continue attaching them in a zigzag motion, chaining 2, going to the other side of the chain 5 spaces, work a single crochet, chain 2, come onto this other chain 5 space, single crochet, and then I'll meet you towards the end. I'm done, so I'm going to chain 1 and cut off the excess yarn. Make sure you leave a long tail to help you weave in your ends. And this is what we have after joining the motifs. It's quite flawless, and if you use a different type of yarn and different type of hook size, let me just guide you on the measuring process. One motif is approximately 4 inches in size, so if your motif is 5 or 3 inches, don't worry. What you're going to do, just use your tape measure to help you figure out how many motifs you need to accommodate your hips, because this is the hippie part of it. The motifs are going to lie on your hips. So let me continue working until I get the right size for my hips, and then we shall proceed from then. So I went ahead, completed my motifs and joined them together. They are a total of 8 motifs, and it's without stretching, it's 40 inches. While stretched, it's 45 inches, and I prefer having my hips to be a little bit loose because I'm not planning it to be a tight skirt rather than a freely fitted skirt. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start working from the waist, from the hips going towards the waist part, and basically it's just going to be chain space stitches, and attach your yarn in one of the corners, and then I'm going to chain 7, and then I'm going to single crochet in each and every chain 5 stitches, but in this case now I'm going to chain 5 and then single crochet in each chain 5 stitches all around. 5, 6, 7, and then single crochet in the chain 5 space, 7, and then single crochet in chain 5 space. When you reach at your corner here, once you do your single crochet here, do another one in the middle part, and then another one over here, and then continue working, chain 7, and then attaching it onto the chain 5 spaces using a single crochet, and then I'll meet you once you're done with the first row. But basically it's just going to be a repeat of this up to perhaps maybe 4 inches in length. So I'm almost closing on the chain 7 spaces row, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to slip stitch and start my next row. Rather than I'm just going to single crochet on top of the first one, and keep on chaining 7 and single crocheting on the top of the next chain 7 stitch. Go all round for a total of 4 inches in length, and then I'll meet you once we get to that point. So I went ahead and made 12 rows of 7 chain spaces stitches, and it's 4 inches in length, the height. So the next thing I'm going to do at this point, because this is the upper part, the waist part of it, it looks like it's baggy, but don't worry, it's because of the chain stitches, but it's going to stretch going upwards. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start work. I'll do 3 rows of chain 5 stitches. So remember we were chaining 7, so reduce your stitches to 5 for the next 3 rows. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then single crochet onto the next one. Keep on doing that for the next 3 rows, and then I'll meet you once we get there. I have reduced the waist part, and that's how it looks like. So in the next row, we're going to start making the waistband, and I'm going to use double crochet to make the waistband. So I'm going to make 4 double crochet in the chain 5 spaces, and then on to the next chain 5 space. I'm also going to make 4 double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in the next chain 5 space, I'm going to make 4 double crochet, and that's going to be the process until you complete the row. 4 double crochet in each chain 5 spaces, and then I'll meet you once you get to the end of the row. To complete the row, you're going to make a slip stitch onto the first double crochet that you made. So the next row, we're going to start making front post and back post. So to make a back post, go through the back part of it and make a double crochet. To make a front post, you are going to pull your double crochet forward, and then back post, pull the double crochet onto the back part. Front post, pull your double crochet towards the front part. So that's going to be the process until the end of the row. You should be having something like that. Go ahead, complete the row, and then I'll meet you at the starting point. So I'm done with the first row of front post and back post, and to complete the row, I'm going to slip stitch onto the first chain 3 double crochet that we made. To begin the next row, I'm going to chain 3 and then make a back post on the first back post that I made, and a front post on the front post that we made earlier. Make a back post on the back post, and then a front post on the front post. So I'm going to repeat the same process, and I'm going to make 5 rows of front post and back post to make the waistband, and you should be having something like that. So do the same, and then I'll meet you at that point. I'm done working on the waist part, and this is how it looks like. So go ahead now and start working on the down part here. Do the rows of mesh stitch on the bottom part, and then I'm going to show you what to do next. So I went ahead and worked 16 rows of the mesh stitch, which is 6 inches in length, So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to fix the detail part on the bottom part of it. So to fix the bottom part, you're going to chain 4, which acts as your first treble crochet, and then you're going to treble crochet inside the chain 7 space, treble crochet for the 3rd time, and then you're going to chain 3, go on to the next chain 7 space, treble crochet 3 times, chain 3 again. So repeat the process. You're just going to work 3 treble crochet in the chain 7 stitch, and then you space with 3 chain spaces, treble crochet, 3 chain spaces, treble crochet, until you finish the end of the row. So I'll meet you once I'm done with this row of treble crochet, chain 3 spaces. So I'm done with this row. I'm just going to chain 3, and then slip stitch onto the first treble crochet to close the row. So we're going to repeat this same row for in the next 4 rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chain 4, which is the first treble crochet, and then treble crochet onto the next stitch, treble crochet onto the next one again, chain 3, and then treble crochet on top of this treble crochet, chain 3, treble crochet on top of the treble crochet. So that's going to be the pattern until you finish 4 rows of this treble crochet, chain 3 spaces pattern. So I completed my 4 rows of treble crochet with chain 3 spaces, and I also made this shell stitch over here. So we're going to make this shell stitch 3 times on the body. Over here we're going to make that shell stitch, and then we're going to make 2 more shell stitch on this part and then on the middle part as well. So let me show you how to make the shell stitch. To start working on the shell rows, you're going to take your yarn and insert it in one of the chain 5 stitches, and then I'm going to chain 7, 1, 5, 6, 7, and then on to the next chain 7 stitch, this chain over here, I'm going to make a single crochet, chain 7, and then on to the next chain space, this one over here, I'm going to make a single crochet. So let's repeat that again. Seven, and then on to the next chain space, this one over here, you are going to make a single crochet, while I'm just single crocheting after this chain this single crochet stitch that we made previously. So repeat that until the end of the row, like on the first chain 7 stitch that you made. I have completed my row of chain 7 mesh stitch. This one's over here. So the next row we are going to, after slip stitching from the first chain 7 spaces, you are going to chain 3. The chain 3 acts as a double crochet, and then in the same chain 7 space you are going to make 9 more double crochet for a total of 10 in the same chain 7 space. I'm done with my 10 double crochet inside the chain 7 space. So the next thing I'm going to do is to make a single crochet in the next chain 7 space, and then I'm going to chain 7, I'm going to make a single crochet in the next space, and then on to the next space I'm going to make 10 double crochet. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then I'm going to repeat this first step again. I'm going to go into the immediate chain space and make a single crochet like that. Then I'm going to chain 7, and then on to the next chain space I'm going to make a single crochet. So that's the pattern until you get to the end of the row, like making a 10 double crochet in the space, and then on to the next chain space you're making a single crochet, and then chain 7, make a single crochet in the next chain space, and then immediately go into the next chain space, make your 10 double crochet, and then on to the next chain space, single crochet, and repeat the process until the end of the row. I'll meet you once you get there. At the end of the row, and to close the row, I'm going to, after chaining 7, I'm going to slip stitch onto the first double crochet that we made, and then I'm going to chain 4, of which the first 3 chains acts as a double crochet, and then the extra chain 1 is going to act as a chain space, and then make a double crochet onto the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet into the next stitch, until you complete the 10 double crochets that we made for a start. So it's just double crochet with chain 1 spaces in between, after making your last double crochet. You're not going to make chain 1. We're going to single crochet onto the next chain 7 space like that, and then we repeat the same process onto this next shell over here. Just go immediately onto the first double crochet and then chain 1, double crochet onto the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet onto the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet onto the next stitch, chain 1, until you complete your 10 double crochets. And remember to make chain 1 spaces in between. So once you're done working on the double crochets, then the next thing you're going to do is to make a single crochet and then go to the next double crochet and repeat this same process until you complete all the shells that you have, and then I'm going to meet you there. So I'm at the end of the row, and after making a single crochet, I'm going to go on top of the first double crochet that I made and make a slip stitch like that. So let's begin on the next row. So I'm going to chain 3 and it's going to be a picot stitch. So after chaining 3, I'm going to go onto the same stitch and make a single crochet and then go immediately into the next double crochet, chain 3 again, 1 2 3, and then on top of the first single crochet that I made, I'm going to make a single crochet there to form a picot stitch, and then immediately on to the next double crochet I'm going to make a single crochet and then chain 3, and then on the first single crochet that I made I'm going to make a single crochet inside there like that, and then go on to the next stitch again, chain 3, onto the first single crochet that I made I'm going to make a single crochet to form a picot stitch. So let's do that until we reach this point, and then I'm just going to show you what to do because it's going to be the same thing until the end of the row. So onto my last double crochet, I'm still going to chain 3 and single crochet over there, and then just move directly onto the next single crochet of this shell stitch over here, make a single crochet and continue making picot stitch in each and every double crochet until the end of the row. So repeat this until the end of the row. You should be having something like this. I'm at the end of the row and I'm just going to slip stitch, chain 1, and then cut off my yarn. Make sure you leave a long tail to help you in the while weaving in your ends. So I'm done with this shell over here, and you're going to repeat 2 more on this part. You're going to make 2 more shells on this part, and one shell occupies 1 2 3 4. It occupies like 4 chain 7 stitches going downwards. So just figure it out, be creative, but the idea is make 2 more shells on this part over here, of which like the last shell should be overlapping something like this. So go ahead and finish that. And then another thing that I made is I made a string to fix on the waist part of it, and then you can't tell whether I have used strings on the waist part because I've fixed the strings on the inside. So to fix that, this is what you're going to do. So for the strings, skip 2 treble crochets, and then onto the next 3 treble crochet you're going to pull your string inside like that. As you can see, it's invisible on the outer part, but you can see it on the inside. So just make that, use that technique to fix your string on the waist, and that's basically it. So yay, so this cut is completed. I had a tailor fix in the lining for me because I don't know how to sew, and I also weaved in my ends, and you should be having something like this. So if you enjoyed the tutorial, kindly subscribe and leave a comment down below, and also hit the bell notification so that you can get notified each and every time I post a video. Until next time, goodbye.